Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding. For your hosts, the bride and groom, Mr. and Mrs. Gibson. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, may the speeches commence. The father of the bride, Tom.
Hello everybody. I'm Tom, I'm the father of the bride. I would like to start by thanking everyone for being here today to help celebrate Dan and Cassandra's wedding. Days like this are very special because Dan and Cassandra are telling the whole world we're so happy with our lives in front of all their family and friends. It's a special day and in years to come will be a special memory to be proud of. I would like to thank the bridesmaids, Amy, and my gorgeous little granddaughter, the ushers, Gavin, and the head of security, Charlie. They're all doing a fantastic job today. I'm incredibly proud of my Princess Cassandra. And I'm really happy at the thought of her spending the rest of her life with Dad. I wouldn't have said that a few years ago, mind. When they both packed their jobs in and went travelling halfway around the world for 6 months, I thought, well, I won't tell you what I thought. Anyway, they came back and quickly got on with their lives, new jobs, a house, and the icing on the cake, a princess of their own, Amelia. Some people might think they got a few things in the wrong order, but for anyone who knows Cassandra, this day will have been well planned, with many lists of when and what order things were to be done. And Darren will have had to tick a lot of boxes. So well done, mate. One of the hardest things a father can do is walk his daughter down the aisle and give it away to someone who she will spend the rest of her life with. But having had the privilege of really getting to know Darren over what has been quite a long engagement, I think I can happily say, welcome to the family, Darren. So my final job is to ask everybody to please be upstanding and join me in raising a glass to the bride and groom.
Ladies and gentlemen, the man of the moment, your host, the groom, Darren.
Well, I can finally say it, my wife and I. I'd like to thank you all for coming today, getting dressed up, boozed up, and choosing our wedding over an actual summer holiday. Bridesmaids and groomsmen, you've all scrubbed up brilliantly, especially Charlie, who looks like he's just won Player of the Year. He doesn't. Me and Cassandra first met while sharing a gas chamber together. Thankfully, this wasn't during the Nazi occupation of Europe. Just a cocktail in a bar on Bocchigate. We've been together more or less ever since. They say, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, and that's been us. It's been 12 years since that cocktail, and we've just been too busy having fun, travelling, and going on holidays to settle down. And honestly, we've been pretty good at it. And that line fits me too. Not as a bridesmaid, but as a groomsman. 3 times best man and proud of it. I'm very lucky to have such an amazing group of mates, and even luckier to have you all here today. Back in 2016, me and Cass set off travelling, and looking back, I wish I proposed then. But a few Christmases later, I had a plan. Festive music, Christmas tree, and a butter dish elf buns. I set her off around the house hunting for crockery like a deranged festive maniac. And when she came back confused and empty-handed, I was down on one knee under the tree, and thankfully, she said yes. We did slow down a bit in our 30s when baby Amelia came along. She joined us together as a family, and now life's leading back up. She's helping us feel 20 again. Every day is an adventure, and I'm loving the ride. And just look at her today, our beautiful princess. We're especially lucky to have our parents celebrating with us. After some serious health issues and hospital visits on both sides, I honestly wasn't sure if everyone was going to make it. But I know it's meant the world to Cassandra to have her dad here today to walk her down the aisle. When I asked Tom for his permission to marry Cassandra, he couldn't have been happier. Finally, someone was prepared to take her It's an old cliche about not getting on with the in-laws, but I've never found that. Tom and Anne's always been so welcoming of me, and I really do enjoy their company. Mostly because of Anne's ability to whip up a Sunday dinner out of thin air. And to my mum and dad, thank you for everything you've ever done for me. You must be so proud I'm creating such a handsome, charming and intelligent son. A bit more hair wouldn't have done this. Now for my best men. What a laugh we've had over the years. I mean, there could have been more laughs since I could have got you off the golf course. But lads, you've only got 2 jobs to do today. Look smart and give a good speech. So don't let me down twice. Cassandra has always been stunning to me, but today she's truly outdone herself. Seeing her in that dress, walking towards me, it just made me smile. And I'm so happy I can now call her my wife. And then there's little Amelia, our beautiful girl. She stole the show today, looking like a princess for real life. The dress is beautiful, and I think we can all agree she's the prettiest star in the room. And now for a toast. Cass has always loved a good Disney movie. And looking around today, it's easy to see why. A wedding in a castle, a handsome groom, herself and Amelia dressed like princesses, a tale as old as time, true as it can be, and now we're a family.
Ladies and gentlemen, head bridesmaid, Amy.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy, I'm the maid of honour. Cass asked me to do a little speech, with it being a Canadian tradition that both the best man and the maid of honour are going to do a little speech. When I was really nervous, I phoned my mom, Mom, what am I going to do? She says, don't be one of those idiots that they can't get the microphone off because they're too drunk. So, my answer was, Cass, can I decide on the day? So I really needed the warmth of the room to mix it just the right amount of tipsy. So clearly I'm feeling all right. People have asked me how Cass and I became such good friends, and a particular moment comes to mind. We first met at our 21st birthday party. It was my first social outing since coming to England, and I really fell on my feet because through her I met her cousins, Alicia, Adele, and Rock. We then became a lovable little friendship unit which eventually made it a lot easier for me to get married and plant roots over here. So one day leading up to my first Christmas away from my family, I was extremely homesick knowing that knowing that I'd miss out on my family traditions. My family traditions, where every year we get cozy and my mum would make dip and snacks and my dad would get the same annual joy and belly laughter from the debatably great film National Lampoon's. So without even knowing that, Cass rang me up and said something along the lines of, "Hey, my family does this silly tradition every year where we watch National Lampoons. Have you heard of it? We basically eat, drink, and my dad gets the same joy each year. Did you want to come along?" Well, this completely made my soul smile. From then on, her family welcomed me into their home for barbecues, meals, and drinks, along with laughter, where some really great memories were made for me, and I want to take a moment to thank them all, as it really did mean a lot to me at the time. It gave me a sense of home away from home with them. So Darren, being as lucky as we both are to be welcomed into the Lowes family, I wish you and Cass a lifetime of happiness and laughter and strength for all the ups and downs marriage brings you. Cheers to the beautiful flower girl Amelia and the bride and groom.
Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing duo.
Right, how do we follow them speeches? That was a lovely speech, Darren, I must admit. And we know you were very nervous about it. In fact, that was the 4th time today that you stood up from a warm seat. A handful of paper in your hands, different type of paper. Yeah, you got through it. Hello everyone, my name's Stephen, better known as Harryford, one part of Darren's best man duo, and a long-time friend of over 30 years, and as of today, you could class a very successful wingman.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jamie, the actual best man. On behalf of Haribo and myself, we'd like to thank you all for being here today, especially on such short notice. Like many of you, when I received my save the date just shy of 2 years ago, I was thrown into a blind panic. How on earth will I make the necessary arrangements to attend the wedding?
Darren and I go way back, all the way to primary school, which puts me in a pretty unique position, because I can remember a version of Darren that had a lovely bowl cut hairstyle. And not this wispy little arrangement he's desperately clinging on to now.
Darren and I first met back in 2009. He joined System IT as an apprentice. Back then he had 20/20 vision, a full head of hair, and a slim build. As you can see, time has been brutal. I guess still having one out of those 3 at 35 isn't too bad. Daz and I didn't really work too closely together. We were in different departments, so it took a little while for us to strike up friendship. Also, at the time, his mum was still cutting his hair, and I assumed still dressing him. So despite his complete lack of interest in any sport, we eventually found common ground in our shared love of live music and spending far too many weekends in Club Concrete.
Going back to our school days, it's fair to say it was a bit of a steep learning curve for poor Darren. He was always the last to be picked for sports teams, and he usually found himself near the bottom of the class. I still vividly remember the day when he finally learned how to read words on a page and count without using his fingers. But the real high point was just a few weeks later when he passed his driving test.
Speaking of minors, Darren was actually a proud member of the Cubs and Scouts from a young age. And believe it or not, Scoutmaster Darren here even went on to spend a couple of years leading a scout group. How he passed his DBS check, we'll never know.
In fact, some of his scout gifted, fellow scouting members, are here with us today to celebrate. Jokes aside, I can honestly say that without his time in the Scouts, he wouldn't be half the man he is. We've shared some incredible experiences over the years, from camping trips, gill scrambling and potholing, to go-karting and clay pigeon shooting. All proper character building stuff and life experiences that have helped shape Darren to the man sat here today.
Darren officially announced his retirement from all forms of sport at the tender age of 16. He did try football, but with his 10 to 2 feet, both of which are left, it wasn't really much of a footballer. He's also tried golf, which seemed promising because it didn't involve any running. But then when hand-eye coordination and flexibility was involved, it wasn't really part of his skill set either. He swings a golf club like he's trying to swat a wasp up a broom.
Before his back finally gave in, probably from carrying the weight of all of his questionable life choices, he decided he was going to become a snowboarder. So off he went and bought all of the gear, the jacket, goggles, snowboard, you name it. The first trip was to Andorra, where he bravely tackled the slopes, and they tackled him right back. After a couple of heavy falls and a bruised ego, he swiftly transitioned from snowboarding to bark rolling. Let's just say the après ski started at about 11 AM. Trip number 2 was to Queens, and by that point the snowboard was basically just a really expensive dream trip. He spent more time in the hot tub drinking beers than he did anywhere near the snow. And in the end, the snowboard was sold on eBay, and he's not been spotted in a cold climate since. Unless you can't walk around the freezer aisle in Tesco.
These days, Darren sticks to hiking. Although, truth be told, his back still isn't cut out for that. But his hiking weekends do involve an overnight stay in a stone bothy, shared with several other men all huddled into one. So, for obvious reasons, he's not giving up on those anytime soon.
And speaking of questionable decisions involving groups of men, let's briefly talk about the stag do. We went whitewater rafting in Wales, followed by a couple of nights out in Liverpool. And I'll be honest, there were some genuine concerns raised by the lads going, and even a few family members. People kept asking, was Darren still up for it? Was he past his best? Or was this just going to be a weekend of him catching up on some much needed sleep?
After a very poor showing on a day session in Glasgow, where he disappeared the moment we got back to Carlisle at 7 PM, and a frankly shameful performance where we went to a gig in Newcastle where he vanished before the band even came on, and he was tucked up in bed by 10 PM, our expectations were very, very low. But I'm pleased to report this time he didn't do his famous disappearing act, and without going into too much more detail, it was a tremendous success. Moving on to today. Don't they look fantastic? Haven't they scrubbed up well? Look how happy they look. Are just some of the comments we've heard going around Rose Castle today. Anyway, that's enough about us two. Let's talk about the bride and groom.
So, Darren and Cassandra first met on a night out in Carlisle, Union Bar for those who remember it, where romance quickly blossomed and a first date was arranged. Daz was very keen to impress, so he told Cassandra that he lived in Durdar. This was unfortunately lost on Cassandra as she didn't know where Durdar actually was.
Daz rocked up at Tom and Anne's house in Lowry Hill and picked Cass up in his trusty transit van.
Oh, Cassandra, that should have been your first red flag.
After the date, she returned home to the usual grinning from Tom and Anne. They had asked, whereabouts in Durdar does he live?
Past the Black Line, she replied.
Good start, because that is in Durdar.
Past the racecourse, she said.
Good, still in Durdar.
Just past Hammond's Pond and the next left, she said.
Bad news, Cass, you're no longer in Durdar.
I'm afraid that should have been red flag number 2.
But it turns out Darren had nothing to worry about after all. After thinking he'd pulled himself a posh bird from north of the river, it turned out that Cass was originally from south of the river. So really, it was a match made in, well, somewhere between Raffles and Curran.
So going away on holiday is nothing new for Darren, but how he does it these days is very different. Long gone are the fortnights in Magaluf, Zante and Kavos, waking up every morning sunburned, dehydrated, suffering from a mild case of amnesia. Thanks to his lovely new wife Cassandra, Darren now travels the world in a much classier fashion, getting immersed in different cultures rather than just getting immersed at the bar. Over the last 10 years, Daz and Cass have built a life full of love, laughter, adventure and some serious air miles. They've explored Europe and Asia together, making the kind of memories most of us can only dream of. And of course, their greatest adventure to date, raising their beautiful daughter Amelia, who I'm proud to call my goddaughter.
Not only was Daz never much of a man's man when it came to sports, he also isn't what you'd call a macho man. While Daz and Cass planned the trip to travel Asia, they needed a few precautionary jabs. Cass took the jabs like a champ. Daz, however, fainted at the first sight of the Injections aren't something most people face too often, but when COVID-19 brought the world to a standstill, more jabs were on the cards, and Darren's old fears came coming back. This time he thought he could beat it. A bit of self-belief, sheer willpower. On the day, he explained to the nurse his history with needles, and she kindly suggested that he lay down, just in case. This time, Daz managed to take the jab and started to think, finally conquered my fear. The last thing he can remember is the nurse saying, "He's gone." The only man I know who can survive a month travelling Southeast Asia is taken down by 2 ml of Pfizer.
And on to a slightly more sombre note. As some of you may know, Cassandra was very keen to tie the knot with Darren much sooner than today, because she desperately wanted a certain something to be involved in the wedding. Sadly, after a long and brave battle, I'm afraid it just wasn't possible. So I'm sure you'll all join me now in passing on your condolences when I say, rest in peace, Darren's heaven.
Gone but not forgotten. Over the years, me, Daz and Haribo have been to loads of gigs and festivals together, some of the best weekends I've ever had. The music and the laughs are memories that'll last a lifetime, and it's brilliant that Daz has found someone who shares the same love of live music. We recently had a great weekend in Manchester together watching Oasis, but even if it's just to catch up for a cup of tea, it's always a laugh a minute when we get together.
Cass, you look absolutely stunning in your wedding dress today. And I have to say, it makes for a very elegant change to the trousers that you normally wear. You bring out the absolute best in Darren. You've taken a good man and somehow turned him into an outstanding one, which quite frankly is nothing short of wizardry. Your relationship shows what marriage should be, the joining of two individuals who together become something even more incredible.
All that's left for us to do now is to wish you both a lifetime of health, happiness and love in your marriage. Enjoy every single moment of the journey through life together.
And of course, have a fantastic honeymoon in Turkey, getting that hairline sorted.
If you could all please join me and be upstanding. Bride and groom.
Yay!